pristine. The word came to Arthur's mind gazing at the elven city, teleported past its gates. Buildings of jade-like material, carved from single stones, were flawless. Huge trees, intertwined with buildings, gave a magnificent, natural look. Immense branches from thick trunks supported houses with smoking chimneys. Lush grass covered the floor, with narrow stone sidewalks and roads. The city, shaded by branches, glowed warmly from floating orbs of light. It was perfect. Arthur stood slack-faced until a blur jolted him awake. Tess held his hand as guards arrived suddenly. These majestic elven warriors wore black suits with green trimmings and golden shoulder guards, rapiers at their waists. Surprisingly, they emitted no aura. Augmenters and conjurers usually emit faint auras due to poor mana control. Arthur's control had helped him defeat the slave traders. The guards' speed indicated they were augmenters, their lack of aura signifying they were formidable. The 5 guards kneeled, faces bowed, right arms across their chests, saluting in unison. "Guards, we welcome back the royal princess." Arthur thought, holy shit, Tessia is the princess of this whole fucking kingdom? Arthur tried to let go, but Tessia grasped his hand harder, her voice cold and apathetic, sending shivers down his spine. "Tessia, you may rise." She peered down on the kneeled knights. They stood, right fists on chests. The lead knight spoke, "Guard knight. Princess, we arrived as soon as we saw that the royal teleportation gate was used. Please, tell us what happened." Before he finished, a cry came from nearby. Queen Marielle. My baby, Tessia, you're okay. Oh, my baby." A middle-aged man and woman ran towards them. Arthur assumed they were king and queen due to their crowns. The king, tall and built, wore a decorated robe, his emerald eyes and tensed lips matching his short military-style hair. The queen was breathtaking despite her age, with light blue eyes, full pink lips, and silver hair curling past her back as she ran towards them. They ran over, the mother's cheeks tear-lined, the father holding back tears. Tessia's face softened, tearing up. Arthur let go of her hand, gently pushing her towards her parents, feeling emotional. Tessia landed in the arms of her parents, who started sobbing, burying their faces in their daughter. The last to arrive was an old man, well past his prime. His facial features were sharp, with a gaze that could kill. His hair was pure white, tied in the back, face cleanly shaven. This grandpa didn't say anything, but his eyes warmed when he saw Tessia. It took a couple of minutes for Tessia and her parents to settle down, while the guards looked at Arthur with daggers in their eyes. The king got up, eyes a little red, but unable to mask his nobility. "King Alduin, as the king of Elenoir and the father of Tessia, I apologize for this unsightly appearance, and more importantly, I thank you for escorting my daughter back home. Please accompany us to our home so we can hear what happened." Arthur nodded in consent and was about to follow when Tessia came and held his hand again, making the surrounding people give them weird gazes. Arthur just uncomfortably chuckled and scratched his head. Arriving at the castle, Arthur observed it was actually a huge tree, probably needing hundreds of people locking arms to encircle it, made of white petrified stone. Stepping inside, he was surprised by the magnificent interior. 2 curved staircases created a circle, with a gigantic chandelier of floating orbs in the middle. Not even washing up. The welcoming crew situated around the rectangular dining table. Tessia's father was at the far end, Arthur directly opposite. Tessia's mother sat perpendicular to her husband, Tessia beside her. The grandpa sat across from them, leaving a gap between them and Arthur, while the 5 guards stood behind the king. With elbows on the table, fingers intertwined, the king spoke first. "King Alduin. Child, what did you say your name was?" "Arthur. Forgive me for the late introduction. My name is Arthur Lewin, from a remote town in the kingdom of Sapin. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, king, queen, elder, and gentleman." Arthur stood and bowed slightly at each before sitting back down. Arthur thought, discussion wasn't going to get anywhere if they were going to treat me like a kid. Both the king and queen and the guards showed evident shock from his mature behavior, while even the grandpa had an amused grin. Tessia gave him a shy smile. The king continued, "King Alduin, it seems you are much more intelligent than your appearance. Forgive me for my preconception. My name is Alduin Erelith, and this is my wife, Mariel Erelith, and my father, Virion Erelith. As for what happened, please tell us. We would like to hear your side of this." Waving off the apology, Arthur began. He was vague about entering Elshire Forest. mentioning separation from family after bandits, surviving by luck. He then revealed he was a mage, surprising everyone, including Tessia, as he hadn't used mana on their journey. Grandpa clasped his hands with renewed interest. Arthur continued, describing spotting a carriage and a tied-up child. The king then slammed his hands on the table, eyes menacing. King Alduin, I should have known it was humans. Arthur thought, whoa, do I sense a hint of racism? Arthur corrected him. Arthur. They were slave traders. Them and bandits alike prey on, not just elves, but humans as well. Speaking as a victim myself. The king quieted, sat back, and coughed softly. Arthur, I didn't ask the princess this, but I am curious as to how a couple of slave traders even got their hands on the princess of this kingdom. He almost called Tessia by her nickname. The king looked almost embarrassed. King Alduin, my wife and I had a bit of a disagreement with Tessia, and she decided to rebel by running away. We decided to let her cool off before fetching her back, but, unfortunately, she ran into some slave traders. Arthur thought, runaway princess. He snuck a grin at Tess, who stuck her tongue out, face flushed. Arthur briefly described the fight. Arthur, luckily, I caught the slave traders by surprise and managed to dispose of them before untying the princess and escorting her here. Elder Virion. So a 4-year-old managed to luckily kill off 4 adults, one being an augmenter, and you simply wave it off like it's no big deal, chimed in the elder, leaning back. Arthur. Yes, half were asleep and 2 weren't on guard, so disposing of them was not too challenging. He refuted. The elder responded with a lazy shrug. Arthur finished and cleared his throat. Arthur. Ahem. As I have mentioned, it has been almost 2 months since I have seen my parents. I do not plan to intrude for long as I wish to meet them quickly. So I was wondering if you have a teleportation gate that could take me to the city of Xyrus or any gate inside Sapine. Tessia. You're going to leave already, Art? Tessia bolted up, panicked. Her parents looked baffled, mouthing, Art? The elder grinned snidely and chuckled. Arthur, I don't think it's appropriate for a human such as me to be inside this kingdom for too long, princess. Besides, I wish to make sure my family is safe and tell them I'm okay. He responded with a sheepish smile. The king responded for Tessia, King Alduin. It has been a couple of 100 years since the last human has stepped foot into the kingdom of Elenoir. And you, Arthur, are the first human in the capital, Zestier. However, saving our daughter and accompanying her back entitles you with a proper reward. Unfortunately, the teleportation gate linked with Sapin opens only once every 7 years for the summit conference. Since the last summit was 2 years ago, it'll be another 5 years until the gate functions. Arthur thought, so much for an easy way back. King Alduin. However, we are more than willing to send guards to escort you back home. You are correct that it may not be wise to stay here long. While some are tolerant, many hold enmities towards humans because of the war long ago. He flashed a brief smile. Arthur nodded. At least he could safely go home. King Alduin. For now, please make yourself at home. We will have your escorts prepared by tomorrow morning. I advise you not to wander outside in the city, for the reasons mentioned. The king snapped his finger, and an elf maid led Arthur to his room. There was a lot Arthur didn't get about this city. The shower baffled him. A simple waterfall flowing from the roof, draining into the floor. Constant, pleasant temperature. After dressing in a silky robe and pants, he placed Sylvia's stone in his chest pocket and tried studying his mana core. About 30 minutes in, getting nowhere, he heard a knock. Arthur. Coming! Opening the door, he was greeted by Tessia, who threw a light punch at his chest. Tessia. You dummy! Why did you act all unfriendly with my family back there? Going past him and sitting on his bed. Arthur. Well, first of all, you didn't mention you happen to be the princess of this entire kingdom. Shaking his head, he gripped Tessia's hand and dragged her out. Arthur thought, kids or not, I don't think her parents are going to like her being in a boy's room. Arthur. Come on, show me around the castle. I won't get the chance to visit this place ever again. Arthur thought, crap, I shouldn't have said that. Sniff, sniff. Tessia broke down into tears. Tessia. Art, I don't want you to sniff leave. You're the first sniff person I've gotten ever close to. Arthur gently patted her head while she rubbed her eyes. They were outside now, in the courtyard garden, lit by dim, floating orbs. Arthur thought, Man, if we were at least 10 years older. Before he finished his thought, he sensed a clear killing intent. Milliseconds later, a faint shine gave off the position of a projectile aimed at Tessia. He pushed the princess away and prepared to parry with a mana-infused hand. Outfwish! At that instant, a figure in black faced his back, poised to attack. Grabbing the projectile, Arthur immediately spun to block the assassin with whatever was thrown. Ting! He was face to face with the grandpa. Arthur jumped back. Arthur, what the hell? Why are you trying to kill us? Elder Virion. Chuckle, kid. It may hurt a little, but I doubt that toy you're holding can kill anyone. Arthur looked down. A pencil-sized projectile, blunted and rubber-coated. Arthur thought, I was tricked. Elder Virion. Haha, nice reaction. I didn't think you'd catch my little present and use it to block my next attack. Truly marvelous. However, your usage of mana is mediocre at best. He threw Arthur a wooden sword fit for his size and took out one slightly bigger. Elder Virion. Here I come. Not giving Arthur time to get in stance, he dashed forward. Arthur thought, this crazy old bat. Arthur. Ha! He thrust himself low, accelerating, throwing off the timing of the swing. Aiming for the fingers gripping the sword, he swung up, reinforcing his body. Right before contact, he met only air as Virion disappeared. Looking back, Arthur saw him meters away. Arthur thought, what the fuck? Elder Virion. You're a scary little brat, aren't you? Looks like I'll have to go a bit more serious. The grandpa smirked. His speed increased. With Arthur's previous life of training, he could keep him in sight, but seeing and responding were different. Arthur thought, this damn body. I feel like a sandbag. He blocked one move out of every 3 landed on his body. Arthur thought, screw technique. This old bat is messing with me using just pure speed. The only reason he somewhat kept up was using sword techniques and footwork to minimize movement. After 10 minutes of being treated like a training post, Arthur noticed patterns. As Virion flashed behind for a leg sweep, Arthur put all strength into his legs and jumped back, sword tucked, pointing at Virion's head. Thump. A solid connection. The old bat stumbled. Elder Virion. Ha 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 ha! I guess I deserved that one, rubbing his swollen forehead. Tessia, surprised at first, realized it was a spar and settled down. Now she jumped up, walked to the elder. Tessia. Grandpa, you hurt Art too much. You should have gone easier on him. Pinching his side. Elder Virion. Ah, that hurts, little one. Haha, I'm afraid if I went easier on Arthur, he'd be the one bullying me, he said while picking Tessia up.